Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. International film star Keira Knightley is making her Broadway debut opposite Judith Light, Gabriel Ebert, and Matt Ryan in Roundabout Theatre Company's new production of THERÈSE RAQUIN, directed by Evan Cabinet. And I caught up with them just minutes after their opening night curtain rang down. Okay, first of all, welcome to Broadway. How does it feel?
Feels great. It's very exciting. You know, I've had one glass of champagne. I'm hoping for another. I'm very excited.
What's this whole experience been like working on this play?
It's been amazing. I mean, it's a very dark piece, and I think I've been incredibly lucky that everybody involved has been so lovely in every single way and so unbelievably talented, because if we'd had one person who wasn't lovely, it would have been absolutely horrendous. So I think we've had a lot of fun doing it, which sounds weird because the piece itself is about kind of, you know, what happens when human beings break the moral code, what happens when they behave like animals. We're not animals, we have morality. So what happens when you behave like that and suddenly you have to deal with the consequences. So it's kind of as dark as it could possibly get. So I've been really fortunate that everybody here can laugh.
And working with this remarkable cast.
Yeah, they're an amazing cast. Really, I feel so fortunate. You know, it's been an amazing experience, a very tiring experience, and a very full-on experience. But I couldn't have asked for better partners on the stage and off.
And working with your director.
Oh, he's wonderful. Yeah, Evan Cabinet. I mean, one of the loveliest human beings in the world, which isn't a trait that you normally associate with directors. You know, he's unbelievably able to laugh at everything and has been really cool and calm and just, I mean, it's a monster of a play, and it's a really difficult piece and a very, very, like, the set and the whole production is quite an extraordinary thing, you know, so we were being very ambitious with the time that we had, and he's always just been totally cool and supportive and lovely, so I've been very lucky.
What's been the best part of the experience of doing stage again?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. It's been like over 4 years, I think, you know, and it's just, it's that wonderful thing of being able to tell a story from start to finish, and once it's in our hands, we get to play, you know, and quite often on film, you do bits and pieces, you know, you do a couple of minutes, and then you do it again, and then you do it again. With this, you know, it's once we're on the stage is ours, and really with this, I mean, I've only done 2 plays before, but this is a show that really changes from night to night, and changes hugely depending on the audience, because sometimes we have audiences who find it funny, which is fair enough because it's written that way, and other times we have audiences who absolutely don't, which is fair enough because it's a tragedy. So it really changes depending what energy is brought into the room, which I find incredibly dramatic, because honestly, you come and see the show, you'll never see the same one twice. Like, my mum actually came on Tuesday night, and then she came again tonight, and it was totally different, because Tuesday night nobody laughed, it was incredibly concentrated, it was very serious, and therefore the play takes on a different shape. Tonight everybody found it hilarious, a lot of the stuff hilarious, and it's obviously a completely different thing, so she was just like, it's a fascinating kind of thing, and for us it's amazing as well.
Oh, it's alive. You know, my final question is, when you took your bow tonight, do you remember what you were thinking? Broadway debut?
What was I thinking? I don't know. I was thinking that I nearly headbutted the bunch of flowers that I wasn't expecting to come at me, so I think we were just laughing quite a lot, and they were all laughing because I'd been told to take 4 bows. I lead the bow, and I was like, no, I'm only doing 3, and she was like, I am going to pinch you if you do not take that 4th bow. So actually I was thinking, is Judith Light going to pinch me if I don't take the 4th bow? She didn't, because I was like, I'm doing it. So,
welcome to Broadway. You look stunning. It is opening night. How do you feel tonight?
I'm really glad we opened. I really am. We've been in previews for a long time, and you know, it's really interesting because we've gotten so little feedback from anybody, and to hear you talk about it and how you felt about it is really helpful to all of us. It really is. So we're delighted. I mean, we're really in this process of making this thing work. This is huge. This is operatic. This is a thriller, and it's the kind of play that you do not see on Broadway. I mean, Roundabout and Todd Haymes are so brave to do this play. But then you have somebody like Keira Knightley, and you don't even, and Matt Ryan and Gabriel Ebert and the rest of the cast, and you go, oh, okay, let's go. Let's everybody go.
What's it like living in the world of THERÈSE RAQUIN?
It's very austere. It's bare. I don't know if you'll understand this when I say this, it echoes all the time in all these different ways. I mean, the sound cues and the light cues and all those things help us emotionally. And I mean, and when you have somebody like Jane Greenwood doing your costumes and Tom Watson doing your wigs, they help us get into these places that we need to go.
And working with this cast.
Oh my God, this cast is just amazing. This is an amazing, I mean, I've never seen people work so hard. What was really interesting was, I'm just going to hold on to this for a second, because I'm wearing these high heels and I'm a little tired. When we first sat down to start rehearsals, we sat at the table for a week and talked about everything. That's how Evan had us really work on it. And there was not one ego in that room. Somebody would offer an idea to somebody and they say, oh my God, that's great. And then somebody would say something else, or somebody would say, I don't really understand this or that or the other thing. And then you'd say, well, what if you thought about it like this? And somebody would go, oh my God, that's fantastic. So it's this very rich, connected group of people who want the best for each other. And we know that isn't always the case.
You know, Keira was saying the audiences change every night.
Totally.
It's a totally different play with a different audience.
Totally. And I mean, and the audience is the other character. And tonight, it was almost raucous in the first act. And then at the second act, it really calmed down when there's the funeral. Yeah.
And what a gorgeous production.
Beowulf, excuse me, I'm sorry. I mean, it is magnificent. I mean, he's just, and the way things fly in and fly out, and the fact that we have this river on stage, I mean, you're talking about beyond the beyond.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You know, Keira was saying, I asked her what she was thinking when she took her bow, and she was like, you kept pushing her to take a fourth bow, tell me.
I did. We talked about it beforehand, and Evan had said to her, look, you may have to take another bow. And she said, just poke me if you think we should take another bow. So
I was going to ask you, what were you thinking when you were taking your bow, or were you poking her?
Oh, I just had to make sure that I knew that I could poke her.
What's been the best part of the experience of working on this show? What's it been for you?
Working with all of these amazing people, working with the people at Roundabout, working with my darling Keira and Gabe Ebert and Matt Ryan and Evan and all of these. I mean, they have put together a remarkable team. I mean, when you work with Jane Greenwood and Tom Watson and you have, all of these people that are on your team and your side and want you to do well, you can't ask for anything better. You really can't.
Come back to Broadway. How do you feel?
It feels really good to be back on Broadway. I'm thrilled to be back at Studio 54. This is actually my second show here. I got to do that great show, Brief Encounter, and so it's a thrill to be back in this building and with these beautiful people.
Working on this play and living in the world of Therese Raquin, what is that like?
It's not a chipper, breezy affair, I'll tell you that. And it's been a great challenge for me as an actor to play this character, someone so unlikable and sort of an invalid, and I tend to be sort of physically wild, and to contain all of that and put it into a different realm has been really exciting for me and a great challenge. And I took this role because I was terrified of it. And I had some real dark moments in the process of making it, but it's been he's taught me great lessons, this character, and I'm happy to be playing him.
You know, Judith Light was telling us that first week of rehearsal was just sitting at the table and talking, and everyone talking to each other.
Yeah, we spent a whole week at the table, and I think that's a testament to Evan Cabinet, this great director, and he develops a lot of new work. And for him to be making this piece, I think is so interesting. We worked together back at Juilliard, and to be doing this now, he really honors the written word. And I think Helen Edmondson, who adapted this, has made a beautiful adaptation. And so we tried to really dig into, we'd all read the novel, and we tried to really dig into what Zola was trying to talk about, what Helen's trying to talk about, and then Evan's sort of point was, let's just play these characters truthfully. Let's not get bogged down in the period. That work will take care of itself. But let's play these characters truthfully for where they're at in their lives. And as soon as we started doing that, I think things really began to click.
Well, it's easier to understand them because it's all in the written word, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't overthink it.
Absolutely. And
you're freer to think about what you want to do, right?
Totally. And of course, actors want to do something flashy and likable. And the truth of these characters is the ugliness of them and the sort of despicable nature of them. And Zola is really writing very baldly and very beautifully the despicable nature of these characters, and that's hard for actors to lean into because we want to be liked. But as soon as we began to, the play really began to pick up steam, and the story itself became the beautiful character rather than us.
And working with this cast?
Yeah, come on. Who could be luckier than me? It's a beautiful group of people. Matt Ryan, Judith Light, of course Keira Knightley doing great work, and then Mary Wiseman just graduated from Juilliard, and I got to see her work there, and she's doing great stuff now. And Jeff Still and D.P. Kelly, who I've watched do several plays, and so it's a really great group of people. And even though the play is dark and occasionally suicidal, it's a joy to come to work.
It changes every night, like Keira and Judith were saying, depending on the audience. It's funnier some nights, it's darker some nights, which I think would be great for an actor to play with.
Totally. And tonight was a real laugh riot. You know, there was a lot of love in the house. Everyone here really wants us to succeed. And so it was a challenge to not play into that, to not play for laughs, you know? And I spent the first week of previews playing for laughs and trying to be likable, and actually getting away from that has been really great. And this audience tonight was such a blessing, you know? But of course, on Saturday matinee, it's going to be a totally different thing, and we need to play it truthfully for them. And so it's good. This play humbles you, and I'm very grateful for that.
Congratulations. It is opening night. You're back on Broadway. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel great, man. Yeah, it's fantastic to be back on Broadway. You know, last time I was here was 2009, doing Hamlet with the Donmar Warehouse, and it's fantastic and such an amazing play to be honoured to take part in.
Talk about this wonderful role that you play.
It's fantastic. I mean, what attracted me to it really is the fact that they go on such a huge journey. He starts out as a Lothario, someone who's a survivor, who's down on his luck, but, you know, will make the best of any situation. And where he ends up, which I'm not going to tell you, you know, is extraordinary. And that journey, that arc of a character is quite something. It's quite something to play, and that's what attracted me to it.
Did you know the play before you started, or the book?
I didn't really know the play or the book, no. So most of my research and work has been, you know, since I've known it.
And working with this cast?
Oh man, they're amazing. Everyone's fantastic. You know, Gabriel Ebert, who's standing right next to me, the guy's a legend. I love him so much. And Keira Knightley's amazing, and Judith Light, who's just a remarkable woman and fantastic actress. I mean, you couldn't ask for better, really. So it's really, really great.
What's it like living in this world?
The world of the play. It's a very interesting world. I mean, it's a completely different world to ours. I mean, it's a tough world. It's a world where when you're down on your luck, you know, you're down on your luck, and that's what my character encounters. And they go to some pretty dark places, but it's actually it's kind of cathartic to play as well. But it's very different to this. So, you know, lots of research, lots of reading, lots of material of the time, lots of images and stuff, kind of get you prepared to take you to that world.
And a gorgeous set to play on.
Yeah, amazing sets. The BroadwayWorld set design has done such an amazing job. They fly in, and there's not much room on the side, so they fly everything in and fly everything out, which is absolutely fantastic.
If you could sum up the best part of the experience of working on this show, what's it been for you, Matt?
It's exploring these extremely complex characters and their relationships, and kind of delving into that. That's been the most satisfying and wonderful thing about doing this project.
When you took your bow tonight, back on Broadway, do you remember what you were thinking?
I was actually humming a tune. I like to hum a tune when I bow. Like, I just hum a little tune, like, to myself. It's like, I don't know what. I think I was humming Inspector Gadget.
So here we are. It's opening night of THERÈSE RAQUIN. You just got back from Japan, right?
I was in Tokyo doing Prince of Broadway with Hal Prince and Susan Stroman, and I just got back 24 hours ago. So it's actually tomorrow morning for me right now.
I was going to ask you, what is the time lapse like?
Japan's 13 hours ahead of this, so it's Friday morning for me.
So being back here, gorgeous set here for THERÈSE RAQUIN. What was it like working on this?
It was a really cool project. I got about a year ago, Todd Hames set up a meeting for me with Evan. I didn't know Evan before this, and we had a lovely sort of hour-long chat in a hotel lobby. And I showed him a book of paintings by a Danish artist named Hammershoy that had nothing to do with THERÈSE RAQUIN, except that they were the right quality. They were sort of this stark, gloomy world, and all these pictures of this sort of lonely woman staring at a window. And we're right period, 19th century, and we sort of grabbed that. And then we said, well, what if we did real water? There's a drowning in the middle of the play. What if we did a real river? And the whole set kind of unraveled from there, and we figured it out based on that.
Are there challenges? The river is so beautiful. Is there a challenge to putting a river on stage?
Hugely hard to do. I did water for the roundabout 2 years ago for the Jake Gyllenhaal play, If There Is, I haven't found it yet, and that one leaked. We had about 2 weeks of real misery dealing with that. So we were very careful this time around. We had a really, really great shop built it. Hudson Scenic built it for us, and we did weight tests to make sure the floor of the theater could hold it. There's a layer of rubber, and then there's a layer of steel so it doesn't leak, and another layer of rubber. Whole thing has heaters in it, and it's all chlorinated like a pool, so the actors don't get sick. So it's quite an operation to do water on stage, and it's about 3 feet deep in the middle. But it was quite an operation. It seems to be working well, and it was honestly was great fun. A couple of times my assistants and I went swimming in it on breaks, and there's pictures of us swimming in there with about 100 rubber ducks floating around.
And flying the apartments in, was that an idea you had from the very beginning?
You know, early on, because part of the challenge of making most of the stage be water is the scenery couldn't come in any normal way, and there's really no wing space at Studio 54. So we had this idea that what if their apartments flew in, and one of the thoughts was also we wanted the river to feel open and wide and beautiful, so that's where Therese is sort of open and free, and we wanted the apartment to feel like a trap, so this cage descends on her at that moment, and then the garret is her one little moment of happiness and freedom. So we have this image of this little kind of roost floating in the stars, but the only place to store all that stuff, because we'd made a lake on stage, was to fly it all up into the ceiling and bring it in from there.
Best part of the experience of working on this production has been what for you?
Oh my God, you know, the whole thing, it's been such a great experience. The cast has been lovely. Evan is so smart and great to work with, but I've got to say, putting a river on stage is probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing for me. I don't imagine anyone will ever let me do it again. So that was the thing that made me kind of giggle with joy on this one.
How do you feel tonight?
I feel great. I feel so excited and so proud of it, and really thrilled to get to this point.
This is such a powerful production. A lot going on up there, many scenes. How did you dissect how you wanted to direct it?
Well, it was really collaborative, and it begins with the designers first, right? As you're in the casting process, you're already working pretty hard at trying to decipher what the physical production wants to be. And with this version, Helen Edmondson, who did the adaptation, focused really on the psyche of Therese. And so everything that you're seeing up there is built out from her internal life, right? The idea that the set goes from a very open and expansive and free space to something very claustrophobic, all of the transition, all of the music, it all sort of telescopes out from her mind.
Working with this cast, specifically Keira Knightley, who's making her Broadway debut.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I have to say, they are the bravest, most generous, wonderful company I've ever worked with. And Keira is the hardest worker I have ever collaborated with. I'm so humbled by what she's been able to do.
You meant to have Judith Light.
I know. I mean, Judith is, she's one of those people you meet and you think, there's no way someone can be this nice or this kind and this open. And you sort of wait and you realize, no, that's just what she's like all the time. And I've learned so much from her. It's been really great. Really great.
And Gabriel and Matt.
I know. Gabriel's great. I actually directed Gabe in a production at Juilliard about 5 or 6 years ago in a classroom on the 3rd floor of the Juilliard School. And so we've been looking to do something together since then. And so it's been a real thrill to be able to work with him again on a stage like this. And Matt Ryan is remarkable. I saw him as Horatio in Hamlet a couple years ago, and I think he told me the other day he's been in every history play. He's been at the RSC for years and years and years. It's like, how do you not want that guy? And it's such a difficult, complicated role that you really want a master, and that's what we have with him.
What's been the best part of the experience for you, Evan, with working on this?
It's the company, really. They are just so wonderful. I can't say enough wonderful things about them. They are thrilling and inspiring and very moving. And what I see when I see what they're up against, and I see how they handle it with grace and precision and heart and humor, I'm in awe of them.
So when the company took their bow tonight, opening night here of THERÈSE RAQUIN, do you remember what you were thinking?
Oh my God. I was thinking, do they bow again? Should they come back out? Are the house lights going to come up? Should I talk to stage management? That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
I love how it's all technical for directors.
I know, totally. It never ends. It never ends. It's always the minutia to the very last second and then beyond. I'll be here tomorrow night watching, I'm sure. So.
From a director's standpoint, what would you like audiences to leave with after seeing this production?
It's a difficult question because this one I think is very open. Sometimes we get audiences that are very giggly and they see it as more of a melodrama. Other times you have audiences that are horrified by it and feel that it's a real sort of suspense play. And it's funny to feel like a collective decision among the audience of what kind of night it's going to be and what play it's going to be. And so hopefully we've told this story without editorializing in a way that people can take a lot of different things from it if they choose.